It's Meg Czapiewski with Honorable Service Realty Group here with your market update for the month of August. August numbers just came in, so I'm going to flip to my share screen because I did do slides this time and I want to share them. And I think that that will help make this resonate with you as to what's going on in the market. So let's start by looking at Fairfax County's sales trends. This is essentially the number of sales that have closed in the month of August. And the stats here, or the data here, shows how they've shifted from the same time a year ago. So August of 2022 compared to now, the total sales obviously down, although it's nice to see that August is a little higher than July. July is typically one of our worst months, you know, not a well-known fact, but it is. Single family homes in red, townhomes in green, and condos in yellow. So what you're seeing is not a huge dip in single family home, but a little bit more significant, though not as bad as national averages of 25 to 30% for townhomes and condos compared to this same time last year. This is just a fun little slide that I had to show because this is what, when we switched from the true data, which you were just looking at, to the change, you have this baseline bar of 0, no change. And typically what you see is, oh, 1 month it's up, or one category it's up, down, and it kind of looks like an EKG or something. But this is like, you know, dead on arrival EKG. Everything is below 0. Everything is negative. So it's true across the board. So we won't show that again, but it cracked me up. So I had to share it. Fairfax County's 4-year sales trend. So it's interesting to know what you did from this time last year. But remember, we've had 3 kind of significant events going on. We had the COVID year, we had the kind of the shutdown, and then the resurgence. Then we had stimulus and nobody spending money because we couldn't eat in restaurants or go to movies. And so we had a surge of people wanting to buy in 2021. It picked up again in 2022 as soon as that post-holiday period happened and the inventory came back on, until the Fed started slamming the interest rate hikes and we went straight down. Stories been told all year long about why we're at where we're at, but a pretty decent recovery considering the interest rates have continued to climb well past where people thought they would, or where the predictions were. And yet we're pretty much recovering. And if you go pre-COVID and you look at the numbers for Fairfax, they're pretty much lined up exactly with where we are now today. So good recovery in Fairfax. We're not going to see quite the same success rate in Prince William and in Stafford. So let's take a look at that. Again, their single family in red in Prince William County down 25%, much more like the national average. And while our market is typically more insulated than a lot of the country because of its military presence, the government presence, the big companies that reside in this area that always have kind of a changeover going on, the further you get from the Beltway, the more you start to feel the pressure of what the rest of the country is. So true as stated, the single family homes are down, townhomes are down even a little bit more, and then condos, not a huge presence of condos in Prince William County, and they're not the super pricey condos that we tend to see up in Fairfax, but they're also down. We take a look at their 4-year sales trend. They're not far off from the pre-COVID, from the 2019. From an activity level, remember, this is activity, is not necessarily prices. We're going to get to prices in just a second. But from an activity level, they're just down slightly from where they were before all of this craziness happened. And Stafford, I don't bother to show condos, but you'll see Stafford is about the same. Actually, these are identical. numbers to Prince William, but when you look at the 4-year trends, they haven't recovered quite as well as the Prince William market, and certainly not as well as the Fairfax market. How? Now take a look at days on market, because now we're shifting from, okay, that's the activity level, but as I mentioned at the beginning, activity levels being driven more by the inventory than the desire for buyers to want to buy. The interest rates are not having as much of an impact on what our market looks like as the amount of sellers who are willing to sell. Now, are they not selling because they're holding on to their 2.8 interest rates and they don't want to go to something much higher? Sure, there's clearly a connection, but it's not that the buyers are not going to still buy in this market, because a lot of them are still there. So days on market is proving that out. In Fairfax and Prince William County, if it's priced properly for its condition, and the vast majority are, then it's going to sell in under 2 weeks. Stafford, maybe a little bit more, so it's still like under 3 weeks, maybe right at 2 weeks, but it's definitely not a stressed market from that perspective. If it's going on the market and it's properly priced for its condition, it's going to sell. So now let's look at what that means for pricing. And I did a 4-year trend here as well as the year-over-year trend. So for Fairfax, I mean, all of these graphs are going to show some level of growth, and some of them are more significant than others. But year-over-year, so in August of 2022, from now, the sales price for single-family home is up 9.3% in Fairfax County, and their median is $923. Don't get eaten up on the numbers so much as the growth, but keep in mind that every neighborhood is different. The sizes of homes, the features of homes, a 5,000 square foot home with a pool in the best school district is clearly going to have different perspective than the average home, maybe 30 years younger or 30 years older and maybe a little tired and only a 1-car garage and those kinds of things. So if you want the drill down, we can help you with your neighborhood and your home. The townhomes up 7.1% and the condos up 9.2%. I was a little surprised at the prices, because I know that a lot of the condos in Fairfax can be just as expensive as single families. Some of them are beautiful townhomes or condos, but these are your median numbers. And when you look at the growth from 2019 prior to COVID, you're seeing a pretty big jump, especially in single family, not as much in the condos. Let's take a look at Prince William. Much bigger growth in that single family trajectory here, but overall year over year, we're only seeing a median increase of 5.4% and a median sales price of $660. Townhomes a little better, almost 10%, and then the condos up 8.3%. I have a hard time understanding how their condos ended up having a higher median than Fairfax, but somehow they did. So, and then Stafford, only one that's down. Now, clearly they had a big growth from under 400 to now well, at least substantially over 500 at 525, but from year over year, their 2022 market was just a little stronger. You only see that in the single family homes. We do see some growth in the townhomes, but it unfortunately is not a whole lot in Stafford. So let's wrap this up with some takeaways. Big picture, it's still a seller's market out there, guys, but there are some concessions and qualifications to the seller's market. Bottom line, as I mentioned before, is the supply is so low that it's lower than our demand. And that's what's creeping these prices up despite the interest rates. And the thing that you do have to keep in mind as a seller is it's not 2021. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to sell my house. I'm not going to do a thing to it. I'm going to stick my sign in the yard. I'm not going to do a whole lot for marketing. I'm probably not even going to hold an open house or anything because it's going to be sold in 2 hours. That is not what we're in. What we're in is if you price it appropriately for the condition of the home, if you make sure that it's not a hard ask for the buyers to come in and not have tons and tons of repairs and tons of updates, or if you do, that you have priced it with that in mind, then you are going to sell that home and you're going to probably sell it in less than 2 weeks. Buyers are being more selective. Their money is not going as far as it was in previous years. So those updates and those condition points, so to speak, that quality has to be there for them to be willing to pony up and get a 7-point-something% interest rate when they're buying your home. This market environment is likely to be around for a while. I don't know what a while means because I know there were many of us that thought that we would be past it by now. So is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 6 months? Is it 3 years? I don't know. But there are tools out there. There are ways to come up with win-win. I know you've heard of interest rate buy downs. There's so much equity right now. And because you saw those trajectories of prices, there's great comps out there that if you had to pay 3% to get your interest rate to go from 7 to 4%, your interest rate buy down could easily be rolled up into most homes and appraised at that price so that you could get your 4%, you could keep your payment where you needed it. There's other programs out there too. There's ARMs, adjusted rate mortgages, that are out there that allow you to have an opportunity to refi. Most of the banks out there are giving you like a 3 or even a 5-year period where they'll refinance for free. So don't be afraid to talk to your lender and your agent and look at the opportunities out there that can still get you what you want for the price you need. I would be happy to help you with any of those conversations, or if you're interested in your current home value, please check on the link below or the QR code. Be happy to help you with that, and have a great weekend, folks. Bye.